Welcome to TechCast by Raqmedia.com, your quick stop for the latest tech news, smart hacks, and cutting-edge updates. Stay informed, stay ahead. Let's dive in.
Welcome back to the Raqmedia TechCast, your one daily stop for the latest tech news and trends.
Absolutely.
Today we're going on a deep dive into something that's really shaking up the world of AI.
Yeah, it's really turning heads.
It is China's latest move in the AI space.
There's been this assumption that the U.S. is way ahead in the AI race.
Right.
But what we're seeing now suggests that that playing field is leveling out in a big way.
Yeah, you're right. How China's new AI model, DeepSeek, is threatening U.S. dominance.
Right.
And let me tell you, it is packed with some pretty eye-opening stuff.
Yeah.
The big question here is, has China actually caught up to the U.S. or maybe even surpassed them in AI? And what does this mean for the future of the entire AI landscape?
Exactly. And what's particularly interesting about this story is DeepSeek. This is a Chinese company has created this incredibly powerful AI model called DeepSeek version 3.
Okay.
And get this, they did it for a fraction of the cost and time it's taken U.S. companies like OpenAI and Google to develop their models.
That's right. DeepSeek spent roughly $5.6 million to develop this model.
Wow.
I mean, that's pocket change compared to the billions of dollars companies like OpenAI are pouring into their AI projects.
Right. And that cost difference really makes you think.
Yeah.
Is it possible that there's a more efficient way to develop these cutting-edge AI models?
Right.
Maybe the massive spending we've seen from U.S. companies isn't always necessary.
And here's where things get even more interesting. DeepSeek achieved this despite the U.S. semiconductor restrictions, which were specifically designed to limit China's access to these advanced chips needed for AI development.
It really shows how resourceful and innovative they've been. Instead of letting those restrictions hold them back, they found ways to work around them. They focused on maximizing efficiency and leveraging existing technology in really clever ways.
Okay, so they're doing more with less. What does that mean for the overall AI landscape?
Well, one of the biggest implications is DeepSeek's decision to make its model open source. This is a stark contrast to the approach taken by companies like OpenAI, which keep their models closed source.
That's a huge difference.
Huge.
Can you break down what this open source approach means in practice?
Sure. Basically, DeepSeek is making its AI model available for anyone to use, modify, and distribute.
So they're giving it away.
It's like giving away the recipe for their secret sauce. This has the potential to democratize access to powerful AI technology and accelerate innovation in the field.
But what about the risks? I mean, couldn't this open source technology be misused or potentially fall under the control of entities with less than noble intentions?
There are definitely valid concerns about potential misuse and control, however. I think the benefits of wider access and faster innovation are hard to ignore. Think about it now. Developers around the world, big and small, can build on DeepSeek's model without any barriers. That's a massive shift.
It really is, and it throws a wrench into the narrative that U.S. companies have a stranglehold on AI development.
Absolutely. It levels the playing field in a big way. And speaking of leveling the playing field, the CNBC video also delves into the debate of whether DeepSeek genuinely innovated or simply copied existing models like ChatGPT.
Right.
OpenAI CEO Sam Altman seems to think it's more of a copycat situation.
Right. But the video also presents another perspective, right?
Yes. It highlights the work of some independent experts who believe that while DeepSeek's model draws inspiration from existing models, there's also genuine innovation in their approach. For example, they use something called a mixture of experts model, which is a really intriguing way to structure an AI.
That's getting a little too technical for me.
Sure.
Can you explain that in a way that even I can understand?
Think of it like having a team of specialized experts, each with their own area expertise working together to solve a problem. The mixture of experts model in AI is similar. It breaks down a complex task into smaller, more manageable subtasks, and then assigns those subtasks to specialized expert modules within the AI model.
That makes sense. So it's like dividing and conquering, but for AI.
Exactly. And the way DeepSeek has implemented this approach, along with their unique training techniques, suggests they've put a lot of thought and innovation into their model. It's not just a simple copy and paste job.
This is some seriously cutting-edge stuff. Before we get too deep into the weeds, though, I wanted to remind our listeners to visit Raqmedia.com. You'll find all sorts of articles, videos, and other resources to help you keep up with the latest developments in the tech world.
It's a great resource.
Okay, back to DeepSeek.
So the CNBC video suggests that DeepSeek's success demonstrates China's capability to overcome obstacles and innovate in the AI space despite those U.S. restrictions.
So this isn't just about one company's success.
Right.
It's about China's growing influence and competitiveness in the global AI landscape.
Right. DeepSeek's breakthrough challenges the assumption that massive spending is the only way to make strides in AI.
Mm-hmm.
It shows that you can achieve groundbreaking results with a more focused and resourceful approach.
And that open source approach we talked about earlier that adds a whole other layer to this.
Absolutely. It has the potential to reshape the dynamics of the AI race by fostering collaboration and accelerating innovation on a global scale. It's a fascinating development to watch. It really highlights how the playing field is shifting. It's not just about who has the most money to throw around anymore. It's about who can innovate and adapt the fastest.
It's almost like the rules of the game are being rewritten in real time.
Yeah.
So how do you think this will play out? What's the next chapter in this AI story?
Well, the CNBC video suggests that the focus is starting to shift away from simply building bigger and bigger models to developing models with advanced reasoning capabilities, models that can not only process information, but also understand and reason about it in a more human-like way.
That's really interesting. So it's not just about size anymore. It's about smarts. It's about creating AI that can actually think.
Exactly. And OpenAI is already on this path with their O1 model, which they claim has demonstrated impressive reasoning abilities. But the key question is, will open source models like DeepSeek be able to keep up with these advancements in AI reasoning?
That's a great question. I mean, open source has its advantages, like the collaboration and rapid development we talked about. But can it compete with the resources and expertise of a company like OpenAI?
It's a fascinating race to watch. OpenAI has incredible resources and some of the brightest minds in the field.
Right.
But open source has the potential to tap into a global network of talent and innovation. It's almost like a David versus Goliath scenario, and it's still too early to say who will come out on top.
You're right. It's a real nail-biter. Now, speaking of open source, the CNBC video also touches on the concept of AI commoditization.
Mm-hmm.
What's that all about?
It's the idea that AI technology is becoming more widely available and accessible, like electricity or the internet. It's becoming something that you can just plug into and use, regardless of your technical expertise or resources.
Now, AI for everyone, that sounds like a pretty big deal.
It is, and it has the potential to disrupt entire industries and empower smaller companies and individuals to do things that were previously only possible for large corporations.
Give me an example. How could this play out in the real world?
Imagine a small startup that wants to develop a cutting-edge AI-powered product. In the past, they would have needed to build their own AI model from scratch, which is incredibly expensive and time-consuming. But with the commoditization of AI, they can simply plug into an existing open-source model like DeepSeek and focus on building their product.
So it's like they get to skip the hardest part and jump right to the good stuff.
Exactly, and that can be a game changer for small businesses and entrepreneurs. It allows them to compete on a more level playing field with larger companies.
It's amazing to think about how quickly this technology is advancing and how it's already starting to reshape the world around us. Before we go any further, I want to remind our listeners to check out Raqmedia.com.
Absolutely.
It's the best place to stay up to date on all the latest tech news and trends. You'll find in-depth articles, videos, and all sorts of cool stuff to help you stay ahead of the curve. Okay, back to our deep dive.
This brings us to a really interesting point about your company Perplexity and how it fits into this evolving AI landscape. You've described it as an AI-powered answer engine. What exactly does that mean?
Great question. Perplexity is all about making it easier for people to find the information they need. We use AI to sift through vast amounts of data and surface the most relevant and accurate answers to your questions, all in real time.
It's like having a super smart research assistant at your fingertips.
That's a great way to put it. And what's really exciting is that we're already starting to incorporate DeepSeek's model into Perplexity.
That's fascinating. How's it working out so far?
It's been amazing. DeepSeek's model is incredibly efficient and performs really well. It's allowing us to provide even more accurate and comprehensive answers to our users, and it's opening up new possibilities for monetization through advertising.
That makes sense. If you're providing a valuable service and reaching a large audience, advertising becomes a natural way to generate revenue.
Right. And the beauty of it is that we can do it in a way that's unobtrusive and doesn't compromise the user experience, We're always looking for ways to improve Perplexity and make it even more useful for our users, and DeepSeek's model is a big step in that direction.
It sounds like a win-win situation for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Perplexity gets a powerful new tool, DeepSeek gets wider adoption of its model, and users get even better answers to their questions.
Exactly. And this brings us to another important player in this whole AI evolution. Meta. The CNBC video highlights their role in developing and open sourcing powerful AI models like their Llama family.
Meta's contributions are incredibly important. Their commitment to open source helps to ensure that the benefits of these advanced AI models are widely accessible and not just controlled by a select few.
Right.
It's all about fostering a more collaborative and inclusive AI ecosystem.
And that's something we're seeing more and more of these days, isn't it? The idea that AI isn't just a race to be won by one company or country, but a global effort to push the boundaries of what's possible with this technology.
Absolutely. We're witnessing a shift towards a more collaborative and interconnected approach to AI development, and that's a really positive sign.
I agree. It feels like we're entering a new era of AI, where collaboration and open source are driving innovation at an unprecedented pace.
Yeah.
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities this opens up, but I'm also curious, what are some of the potential challenges we might face as AI becomes more powerful and accessible?
Well, one challenge that comes to mind is ensuring that these powerful AI models are used responsibly and ethically.
Okay.
As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's crucial to have safeguards in place to prevent misuse or unintended consequences.
That makes sense. Like with any powerful technology, there's always the potential for it to be used for good or for bad.
Yeah.
We need to be proactive in thinking about these ethical considerations.
Exactly. And that's where initiatives like the Partnership on AI come in.
Okay.
They're bringing together leading tech companies, research institutions, and experts from various fields to develop guidelines and best practices for responsible AI development.
So it's not just about the technology itself, it's about the people and the values that guide its development and use.
Right. We need to ensure that AI aligns with our values as a society and that it's used to benefit humanity as a whole.
That's a powerful idea. So as we wrap up this deep dive into China's AI revolution, what are some of the key takeaways you'd like our listeners to remember?
I think the biggest takeaway is that the AI landscape is changing dramatically. We're seeing a shift away from the old model of closed development and massive spending towards a more collaborative and open approach.
And DeepSeek's success is a prime example of that shift in action.
It is, and it's a reminder that innovation can come from unexpected places, and that resourcefulness and ingenuity can be just as powerful as deep pockets.
It's a real inspiration to see a company like DeepSeek challenging the status quo and pushing the boundaries of what's possible with AI.
Absolutely, and this is just the beginning. I think we're going to see even more incredible advancements in AI in the coming years, driven by both large companies and smaller, more agile players.
It's an exciting time to be following this field, that's for sure. And I think it's safe to say that we've all learned a great deal about the evolving landscape of AI and the impact it's having on the world.
I agree. It's been a fascinating discussion.
Before we sign off, I wanted to remind our listeners one last time to check out Raqmedia.com. It's your one-stop shop for all things tech, with in-depth articles, videos, and podcasts covering the latest news trends and breakthroughs you don't want to miss out.
It's a fantastic resource for anyone who wants to stay informed about the rapidly changing world of technology.
Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Raqmedia TechCast.
Yes.
A huge thank you to our expert guests for sharing their insights and knowledge with us today.
It's been my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of AI. It's a fascinating field with incredible potential, and we're excited to see what the future holds. Thanks for listening to the Raqmedia TechCast. The scriptwriter Ezzadine Yahawi. And don't forget to subscribe to the show on Spotify.